All right, so my name is Samson and I am a third year student at the JAMK University of Applied Sciences in Jyväskylä, Finland. This is the presentation of Docker Compose for the service-oriented applications course at our university. So yeah, let's start with it. So what is Docker Compose? The Docker Compose is pretty much a single file, docker-compose YML. It is a tool for multi-container applications. With this Docker Compose, you use YAML file to configure your application's services and settings. Then you just need one single command to run all the Docker containers that you define in this file. You have it is very convenient way to configure your all Docker containers at once because you are doing it in the same file, just single file, nothing else. So you have three simple steps for this process. You define apps environment with the Docker file so it can be reproduced anywhere. Then you define the services that make up the whole app that you want to run in Docker Compose YML file, so they would run together seamlessly in the same isolated environment. Then you just run Docker Compose, the command which is Docker Compose up, and all the containers will run at once. You don't need to run them separately from the command line as you do normally with Docker containers. Sorry. Docker Compose is very useful for the continuous deployment and integration, the automation of software, as you say. I really don't see a lot of downsides to using Docker Compose. It's really convenient. So this is the file example for Docker Compose. As you can see, there is a version and the services. For example, web service. Here are the ports that are open. This one is opened within the in isolated environment, and this one is open to the outside world. Here you have volumes, links, and Redis image too. All right, so I will demonstrate now how this would look in more complicated environment, in the more complicated software application. Here is the application that this is .NET Core backend application that I've created for this course as a project for this course, and this runs a bunch of different Docker containers. This needs those containers. Yeah, so now it's running normally. There's everything here. You can search, you can request for images and stuff. Yeah, let me show you how the file looks for this one. So I'm connected through the SSH to the CSC cloud virtual instance that is running all the Docker containers. Yeah. So let's take a look at the file. Docker Compose YML. So here you can see the version as you saw in the example 2, and the services. The services are the containers. So you have HI proxy, you have Varnish, you have a bunch of this like Redis, Mini.io, Grafana, and Mongo, Elasticsearch, Graylog, Postgres SQL, and so on. Let's take a look at the main one, the .NET Core image, the container that is built from this image, that is run from this image, that is built by the Docker file from the .NET Core application, and the image is located at the GitLab container registry. So we pulled it here and then ran it. So you can just define pretty much everything that you can for the Docker in this file. So container name, networks, and these are the environment variables. Those are really important here. For example, here is the PostgreSQL server, and the server name is the server is PG pool, which is normally wouldn't work, but is in this isolated environment. Here it is. The name of the Postgres container is PG pool. So yeah. So it works like this, and also port that this is the port for the isolated environment, and within this environment we have to use that port, and the first port that was defined there is for the outside world. If you want to connect to the database from the outside of this isolated environment, you would have to use the other port, the first port. Here are some other variables: user, password, database name, and also the same for Mini.io and Google Authentication Client ID. This is for Google Authentication, and also a JSON Web Token. Normally you wouldn't see this, but this presentation is not going anywhere publicly. Yes, so you can see volumes, networks. So you can pretty much define everything in this single file. Everything. So let's take a look how does the Docker Compose up and down work. Let's go back, and just with the Docker Compose down command, we will stop all the containers at once, which is really convenient, like this. So we can see that containers are stopping. All the containers at once, they're stopping, and also they're getting removed. And the network also getting removed. But to prove this, just look at this. There's nothing here. There's no Swagger documentation for the API project, but with one command, Docker Compose up, with the option D. The D is for detached, which will run all the containers in the background. We don't want to for this command for PowerShell just to be busy with running. You can do other stuff too. All right, so it's creating all the containers now. And voila, they're all running now, and you can actually see them running with Docker Compose PS, and you can see all the containers are running. You can see all the ports and names. Okay, let's see if our software is running now. And there it is, it's running normally. So Docker Compose is really convenient for this multi-container application continuous deployment. For example, in GitLab you can assign runners to pull new images and just run them, just restart. For example, you can just Docker, you can restart one container just like this: Docker compose restart, Docker compose restart gallery API. This is the container for the API project software application, sorry. Alright, so it's restarted. You can also do Docker compose down and just stop one container. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's not down, it's stop. And if you want to restart it again, you just go Docker compose up, detached, and it's gonna build it and start, and then we can see that it's running again. Yeah, so that's it. This is it from our presentation. I hope this went well, and thank you for the course. This was like one of the best courses. I've enjoyed it a lot. Bye.